Now, the president's historic visit is catching the eye of Central Ohioans who have traveled to Cuba. Tonight, our Candace Lee spoke with a Cuban-American and also an art collector who believes that our thawing relationship with the communist country is a step in the right direction. Candace?
Yeah, Mike, Columbus attorney Joseph Moss and his wife Linda were just in Cuba with seminary students. He says Cubans are excited about the possibilities that come with a possible end to that long-term embargo.
This is a picture of the house where I grew up in Cuba.
Jose Luis Mas, or Joe as they know him here in Columbus, was born in Cuba, but the revolution forced his family to flee to America in May of 1961.
It's one of the only pictures he has right there. That's his first communion.
Nearly 55 years later, and Joe is witnessing history as President Obama visits Cuba, the first president to do so in almost 100 years.
It is so thrilling, and I think it's moving regardless of your sentiments about the propriety of going back or of opening relations.
Joe and wife Linda returned from a trip to Cuba 3 weeks ago. He says talking to people in the streets, students, and people in government revealed a happiness and surprise about Obama's visit and something else.
They knew that this meant that the subject of improving the condition of the people on the island would be on the table.
They're saying communism is wrapped up, smiling in sheep's clothing.
It is the human condition and the Cuban art that captures it that draws art consultant Michael Reese to Cuba again and again.
The art that's being created when you have no supplies, when you have no materials.
Reese says the Cuban people are resourceful and just want the opportunity to provide for themselves. He says Americans can support that effort by visiting and spending money.
If they'd end the embargo, they would be allowed the resources to make it happen, to lift themselves up even higher.
And Reese has quite the art collection from Cuban artists. He is planning to return to Cuba in the coming weeks, again with a group to meet with Cuban artists and others. In the newsroom, Candace Lee, NBC4.